The story begins with a girl named Sugar wandering around the city with two men. At one point, she and one of her partners enter a hotel, and she begins undressing him. Sugar illegally sells drugs, and it turns out her partner is working with the police, so he betrays her to the authorities. As a result, Sugar is arrested. In jail, a girl named Carla says to Sugar, "What kind of shady business were you involved in?" Sugar replies, "You're the one involved in shady business, I was just supplying drugs." Afterward, an officer calls Sugar into his office and tells her that if she is presented in court, she will face a 7-year sentence. However, if she agrees to work in the government's sugarcane fields, she will be released after 2 years. Sugar agrees to this offer. Following this, Sugar and several other women are loaded onto a truck and taken to work in the sugarcane fields. Among these women is Carla. After a while, they reach the government fields where many men and women are already working. We then see Susan, a girl who sneaks out of the group when things slow down, but she is eventually caught. The officers hit him a few times, and then they assault her. Afterward, the jailer examines all the women. Sugar used to manipulate people, but she didn't know how to cut sugarcane, so an officer teaches her how to do it. Meanwhile, some men are brought to work as laborers, and among them is a man named Mojo, who catches Carla's eye, and she falls for him. At night, when all the women are asleep, one of them cries because she can't bear the work in the sugarcane fields. There's also a doctor named Bill, who treats the prisoners but secretly conducts experiments on them, using them for his bizarre medical trials. The inmates trust him, unaware that he's experimenting with dangerous drugs and even allowing animals like cats to attack them. Carla begins meeting Mojo secretly in the jungle, where they grow closer. Sugar, too, starts seducing an officer and occasionally accompanies him to the jungle for romantic encounters. One night, the two of them sneak into Dr. Bill's house while he is out and begin undressing. However, Dr. Bill returns home and catches them in the act. The next day, the jailer ties up Sugar, and her lover is asked to flog his love. Unwilling to hurt her, he fights back and slaps the jailer, which leads to him being shot dead. Sugar is left in shock and faints. The jailer spares her, but that night, she tries to escape, realizing there is no safety for prisoners there. Meanwhile, at night, when the jailer goes to the prisoners' quarters, they do not find Sugar anywhere. So, the jailer and his team set out to catch her. After wandering in the jungle all night, Sugar's leg gets caught in a snare trap in the morning, and she ends up hanging upside down from a tree. Hearing her cries, the jailer reaches the spot and brings her back to the cell. After that, they were treated very poorly in the jail. Meanwhile, Dr. Bill's experiments on the women grow more dangerous, as he begins using rat poison and subjecting them to other horrors. One day, after a long day's work, Sugar, Carla, Mojo, and some others venture into the depths of the jungle. Mojo, skilled in black magic, draws a circle with powder and finds human skulls buried there. They realize that Dr. Bill has been killing people in his experiments and burying them. They confront Dr. Bill with the skulls and threaten to expose him unless he stops and arranges for their release. Dr. Bill, with no other option, agrees to recommend their release to the jailer. That night, Mojo performs a ritual in the jungle, but one of the jailer's men attacks him, beating him unconscious. The next day, the jailer burns Mojo alive with gasoline while he pleads for help, but no one comes to his aid. The jailer later tells the women that Mojo escaped, but they don't believe him. Carla, enraged, stabs the jailer with a knife. Officers arrive and take Carla away. Dr. Bill locks Carla in a cage and starts a fire beneath her. As he watches from a distance, sipping wine, Sugar sneaks in and knocks him out. She frees Carla, and together they confront Dr. Bill, demanding the way out of the jungle. Terrified, Dr. Bill tries to speak, but before they can get the answer, the jailer arrives. Sugar kills the jailer before he can harm them. Meanwhile, the other women start pouring gasoline in the fields instead of water and set the fields on fire. The women then load up trucks and jeeps and try to escape. Carla takes Dr. Bill along to show them the way, but they are pursued by the police. Carla is shot, and her vehicle explodes. By morning, Sugar and the remaining women manage to escape and reach the city. And with that, the movie comes to an end.